Nobody saw this coming. As the Indiana Fever gets set to tip off what might be the most anticipated season in franchise history, they made a bold and unexpected roster move that has everyone talking. Rookie forward Makayla Timson, a number 19 overall pick, who many thought would be a long shot to make the team, not only survived training camp, she earned a permanent spot on the opening day roster. The decision sent shockwaves through the league and left Fever fans wondering, are these the new secret weapons that Caitlyn Clark will have to help her chase a championship? Let's break down the full details of this unexpected roster shakeup and what it means for the Indiana Fever's 2025 campaign. When training camp began, very few experts predicted Makayla Timson would crack Indiana's final roster. At number 19 in the draft, she was expected to spend her rookie year developing overseas or deep on the practice squad. Instead, she flipped the script and forced her way into the conversation through sheer hard work and standout performances. The Indiana Fever's final cut came on Tuesday, when they waived 26-year-old guard Jaylen Brown. Brown had arrived via a 4-team trade from Dallas and was expected to compete for the final guard spot. Yet it was Timson, with her defensive versatility and poised play style, who won over head coach Stephanie White and the coaching staff. White had nothing but praise for Timson's approach. She plays with great pace as a young player. She doesn't force things. She allows the game to come to her. That maturity, combined with her natural feel for the game, separated Timson from her competition. The move was a shock not because of Timson's potential, but because of the boldness of the Fever coaching staff to prioritize a rookie big over a more experienced veteran guard heading into a season with championship hopes. This roster shakeup sent a message. The Fever are committed to building something sustainable for the long term. Even with the pressure of Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston at the helm, Indiana has proven it will reward performance over reputation. The Fever head into the season with arguably the league's most exciting 1-2 punch in Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston. But every championship-caliber team needs depth, especially in the front court where injuries and foul trouble can derail momentum fast. That's where Timson comes in. She will serve as key depth behind established starters Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard, providing fresh legs and energy when the Stars need a breather. The Fever also retained Damiris Dantas and Brianna Turner, making Timson the youngest in a crowded but talented group of forwards. Indiana opted for 5 forwards and 6 guards, a deliberate roster balance that indicates they expect Timson to play real minutes, not just ride the bench. Timson impressed the coaching staff during preseason not with flashy stats, but with her reliability. She rebounds, defends without fouling, and keeps the offense flowing. That is exactly the type of player that can quietly swing close games in a long 40-game season. For Clark, who will be expected to push the pace and create shots for everyone, having another forward who knows how to cut, screen, and move without the ball will be invaluable. It takes pressure off Boston and helps Indiana avoid falling apart when the starters sit. If Timson can keep playing within herself and make an impact in limited minutes, this low-risk gamble by the Fever could become one of the most underrated moves of the 2025 WNBA season. The decision to enter the season with just 11 players instead of the maximum 12 raised plenty of eyebrows across the WNBA community. For a team with legitimate playoff aspirations, reducing roster depth seemed like a risky move. But when you look closely, the Fever's front office played the long game, a move driven by strategy and financial flexibility rather than necessity. The WNBA's hard salary cap forces teams into difficult decisions. There is no luxury tax, no overspending allowance. Every dollar must be accounted for, and every contract must fit neatly into the framework. By waiving Jaylen Brown and retaining Makayla Timson, Indiana made a deliberate choice to prioritize long-term control over immediate veteran experience. Timson was signed to a 4-year rookie-scale contract, starting at a modest $69,267 in 2025, with small scheduled increases through 2028. That makes her an extremely affordable asset for multiple seasons. Brown, in contrast, would have earned a 1-year veteran minimum deal and then become an exclusive rights free agent in 2026. So, I just want to say congratulations to Makayla Timson. I gotta say congrats to Makayla Timson on making the final Indiana Fever roster, with the WNBA's current collective bargaining agreement set to be renegotiated by 2026. The financial landscape could change drastically, bringing salary increases or contract structure shifts that make short-term deals far more expensive. The Fever opted for stability and predictability. By locking in a rookie like Timson at a controlled price, they are protecting themselves from unknown CBA adjustments while still adding valuable depth. It also gives them flexibility to maneuver mid-season. If injuries strike or if they see an opportunity to add a veteran piece, they'll have the cap space to do so. Still, the decision was not without controversy. Several analysts warned that carrying just 11 players is an extreme gamble in a grueling 40-game season. The WNBA schedule offers little recovery time, and teams often face back-to-back games with travel in between. One serious injury could force the Fever to scramble for replacements. There's also the human side of this. Jaylen Brown had worked hard through camp, showing flashes of scoring and versatility, but ultimately lost her spot in a numbers game. Fans were vocal online, with some criticizing the team for cutting a proven player who had earned a shot. The Fever are betting that Timson's low-maintenance game and growth potential outweigh the short-term risks. It's a high-stakes chess move that could either look genius or come back to bite them hard if depth issues derail their season. The Fever's roster decision wasn't just about economics. It fit perfectly into their long-term rebuild philosophy, one that has quietly set them apart from many other WNBA teams. Indiana is in the middle of an ambitious, multi-year plan to construct a homegrown contender centered around young, controllable talent with star potential and complementary role players. It started with Aaliyah Boston, the dominant 2023 first overall pick who immediately became an all-star and franchise cornerstone. Then they landed Caitlyn Clark, the 2024 first overall pick and generational backcourt talent. Together, they form one of the most exciting young duos in the league. But the Fever understand that star power alone doesn't build championships. You need the right supporting cast, players who accept their role, make winning plays, and help sustain consistency over an entire season. That's where Timson fits in beautifully. At Florida State, Timson was never flashy. She played smart, controlled basketball. She boxed out, protected the rim, ran the floor, and made life easier for her teammates. That exact approach is what made her stand out in training camp. Fever head coach Stephanie White praised her ability to play with pace as a young player and allow the game to come to her. Timson will slot behind Boston and Natasha Howard in the front court rotation, offering crucial depth at both the 4 and 5 spots. With Brianna Turner and Demira Stantis also in the mix, Indiana has assembled a versatile, mobile forward group that will allow them to switch defensively, crash the boards relentlessly, and avoid foul trouble sinking their rotations. Timson's biggest asset might be her willingness to do the dirty work, set hard screens, box out taller opponents, and make extra passes without seeking the spotlight. That fits exactly with what Indiana wants out of its bench players. Yeah, getting to go back to Iowa, it's so exciting. I obviously haven't really been there much since I left about a year ago. And I think just getting to see people that have supported me throughout my career and continue to support me is going to be incredible. But also, like, they're the biggest Indiana Fever fans too now. Like, they want to meet all my teammates. They want to cheer for my teammates. And I was telling, some of the girls the other day, I'm like, they're going to go crazy for you too. That long term, the Fever may have just locked in a player who can quietly become their most important glue piece. If she develops her offensive skills and stretches her game a bit, she could become a rotation staple for years to come. At worst, she gives the Fever consistent, effort-driven minutes and a steady presence off the bench. This is the blueprint Indiana is committed to. Draft well, develop internally, avoid expensive free agent bidding wars, and create a cohesive identity built around selfless, team-first basketball. Timson embodies every part of that vision. So what does all of this mean for Caitlyn Clark, the face of the Fever, and arguably the face of the WNBA itself entering the 2025 season? The addition of Mikayla Timson and the decision to go with 11 players reflects the franchise's belief that Clark is ready to lead, but also that she cannot do it alone. Last season, Clark shouldered a historically high workload. She ran the offense, led the league in assists, scored at will, and absorbed relentless physicality from defenders who targeted her every night. That grind was unsustainable. Adding Timson, alongside existing post players like Boston, Howard, Dantis, and Turner, offers Clark the stability she's desperately needed. With a deeper and more reliable front court, Clark will no longer feel forced to overcompensate on every possession. Timson's defense and rebounding will help minimize second-chance points and allow Clark to leak out into transition, where she is at her most lethal. Her screens and cuts will create the space Clark needs to operate freely and get better looks from deep. Even without the ball, Timson's hustle will allow Indiana to maintain energy and control the tempo when Clark needs a breather. Offensively, Timson won't demand touches, which suits Clark's playstyle. Clark thrives with bigs who set hard screens, finish around the rim, and don't clog driving lanes. Timson gives her exactly that, while also offering rim protection on the other end. The other benefit, fewer minutes for Clark. Indiana learned the hard way last season that over-relying on Clark wore her down late in games. Having better rotational depth means White can stagger Clark's minutes more carefully and preserve her energy for crunch time. Make no mistake, Indiana's playoff hopes still ride on Caitlyn Clark, but for the first time, she enters a season knowing there are reinforcements behind her, both on the perimeter and in the paint. The Fever front office has shown it is committed to building a roster that complements her skills and protects her from burnout. That's a scary thought for the rest of the league. A fully rested, less overworked Caitlyn Clark paired with a deep and hungry roster could make Indiana the surprise title contender of 2025. Timson may have been the under-the-radar addition, but she could be the hidden X factor that allows Clark to finally dominate from start to finish without compromise.